The image makers, the designer-photographer partnerships that change the world. The way in which a fashion label presents itself to the world can be just as important as the garments it makes. Before a customer gets anywhere near the clothes, chances are they'll have some impression of the brand's broader image. That means a designer's work must be backed up with a strong and distinctive advertising campaign to generate a dedicated audience. However, creating a unique and original image which projects wide appeal and an underlying aura of exclusivity is far from an easy task. And this is when the world's top-tier fashion photographers rise above the rest. By capturing the spirit of a brand along with a designer's vision, they present the clothing in a way that's both inspiring, enticing, and recognizable over a prolonged period of time. Let's look at some of fashion's most successful collaborations between design houses and world's high-end photographers, exploring how the magic touch of the top-tier fashion photographers can turn a little-known atelier into an instantly recognizable icon. Examining the influential brands and the photographers that became synonymous with them. The following is a breakdown of how creative execution can develop into a world-famous signature brand image over time. In the second chapter of our Image Makers series, we continue to look at influential partnerships between high-end designers and top-tier photographers. We explore the highly lucrative collaboration between risque fashion photographer Ellen von Unwerth and Guess. This time sees the beginning of the Guess Girls, resulting in a partnership that spans over 30 years.
Because my boyfriend gave me a camera, and you know, that's when I started to be interested in photography. And then he gave me the camera and he explained me the plus, the circle and the minus. When the circle lights up, you shoot. And then I started to shoot to photograph my model friends on a trip to Kenya, and I did reportage in African village of the kids and the women, and when I came back with the pictures, like people were like, "Oh, these are quite nice. Did you take them?" And I was like surprised myself.
Yeah.
The work of Ellen von Unwerth. Ellen von Unwerth is a female fashion photographer worth celebrating. Her unique perspective is born out of her experience as a model, allowing her to connect with her subjects. This creates a unique intimacy not often seen in fashion photography. She is one of the very few female fashion photographers, alongside Sherman, Leibovitz, and Goldin, to stand toe-to-toe with the legendary male photographers of the 90s and 2000s. Sebastian Plantin, curator of her 2018 exhibition Ladyland, says, "Her pictures are not only aesthetically pleasant, but they are also educational because they express a more sophisticated approach to femininity." In Ellen's photographic world, women can stand alone and be in control. They are self-assured and emancipated from the male figure. Von Unwerth's style is striking. With influences like the glamorous eroticism of Helmut Newton and Guy Bourdin, the resulting pin-up style photographs convey a subversive feminine gaze. This is empowering rather than objectifying, something seldom seen in mainstream fashion photography. She has the uncanny ability to capture the personalities of her subjects.
Women which inspire me, which have lots of personality, which have character, who are, you know, fun and free and not scared to show their sensuality. And, you know, I just love to make them look gorgeous and beautiful and empower them.
Von Unwerth's eye for talent is responsible for the launch of a variety of 90s supermodels' careers. Some of these names include Claudia Schiffer and Eva Herzegovina. her dramatic photography campaigns often draw inspiration from black and white movies. Such images appear on the pages of Vogue and Vanity Fair. Not only that, but they also frequently feature in international exhibitions at institutions like MoMA and the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Born in Frankfurt in 1954, von Unwerth lost her parents at the age of 2 and spent her youth between orphanages and foster homes. "I didn't suffer too much," Unwerth wrote of her early years in her autobiography, Fraulein. "In fact, I remember my childhood as being very happy." After graduating from high school in Munich, von Unwerth worked as a circus assistant performing stunts and magic before being scouted and becoming a model. She moved to Paris and worked as a model for several years, but often felt limited.
I was modeling, I wasn't really so happy because I think I was not, you get judged very much for your outside, and I feel often, people don't really care for your personality, and I wanted always to express myself in front of the camera and do like silly things and move and, have fun, but people were like, no, just sit still, look to the left, to the right, and that was kind of frustrating and not boring, but I didn't really enjoy it that much.
Guess and Paul Marciano. Ever since the Marciano brothers launched Guess in 1981 in Southern California, Guess quickly became a name synonymous with trendy denim apparel and sexy advertising. The visual identity of Guess was the handiwork of Paul Marciano, who made the decision in 1986 to switch Guess's advertising photography to black and white from colour. Guess has left indelible imprints in branding, with its striking images of sexy Guess girls. Since the 1980s, being a Guess model has been a role reserved for bombshells and sex kittens. Throughout the years, the brand enlisted supermodels, actresses, and even one former First Lady. Whether blonde or brunette, Guess girls turn up the glam factor in denim, swimsuits, and lingerie. In an interview with WWD, Marciano says, "Since the day we started Guess, the brand has always stood for young, sexy, and adventurous."
We have created something that people are dreaming all their life to have and never achieve. That nobody can take it away. And that's the message I want to give you.
When the waif look first came into fashion, Anna Nicole Smith was in the Guess campaigns looking like a real woman. "A girl who looks too thin and unhealthy doesn't look sexy to me, and she doesn't look right for Guess." Paul states in many interviews that he likes to discover new faces for his Guess campaigns. But most important was the chemistry between the model and the photographer, which he believes is the key to a successful shoot, and hence a phenomenal campaign. Throughout its 30-plus years of advertising, Guess has helped launch the modeling careers and boost the acting careers of some of the most globally recognized models in the business, while making jeans look irrevocably sexy. Integral to this and the success of the Guess Girls campaigns is its relationship with legendary photographer Ellen von Unwerth. Von Unwerth's years of frustration while modelling fueled her creativity. She began shooting photos and first gained recognition in 1998 through a collaboration with Paul Marciano, the CEO of Guess. He said that when scouting photographers for his campaigns, he looked for something in their work that caught his eye. With Ellen, he found a photographer who shared the same level of obsession for creating great images. In an interview with Paper magazine, he said, "One day I saw pictures in the Face or Arena, they were beyond sexy. I looked at the name, Ellen von Unwerth. She was German, the magazine was English, but the rumour was that she lived in Paris. Finally, I had a meeting with her, and her first campaign ever was Guess. In her first campaign for Guess, Ellen von Unwerth shot Karyotis. The starlet later told WWD, "The moment was a pivotal one in my career, and the photos catapulted me into new stardom." However, the pivotal shoot for von Unwerth comes 1 year later, when she discovers a future supermodel, Claudia Schiffer. Schiffer starred in the 1989 Guess campaign. The campaign was so successful it essentially launched the careers of Claudia Schiffer and Ellen von Unwerth.
I shot her and I noticed on the pictures afterwards that she had that Brigitte Bardot resemblance, and we made her look even more like that. And the pictures came out and, it was like everybody was talking about it. It was very surprising. We didn't expect that.
While simultaneously making Guess a household name. Paul Marciano explains to Dazed magazine, "Ellen and I were scouting for unknown models for the Guess campaigns. We came across a young German model that had an amazing resemblance to Brigitte Bardot, and in our opinion was the answer to our dream to faithfully recreate the old movies of the 50s. Her long blonde hair and sensual curves, along with her unique personality, so independent and determined, set the standard for all Guess girls to follow her. Claudia is the quintessential Guess girl." "I met Ellen von Unwerth in Paris when I was 17, Claudia Schiffer reflects, on the 30th anniversary of Guess. We were both starting out and got on like a house on fire. Just mucking around next to the Centre Pompidou in my own clothes. Cut to the Guess team who saw the pictures and wanted us for the Guess Jeans ad campaign.
Guess Jeans was incredible because, number one, I never wanted to become a model, and number two, I definitely didn't want to become famous either. That was not one of my goals or dreams ever. I suddenly had people coming up on the street to me asking for my autograph.
I want them to enjoy themselves or play a role and show some personality and not like objects.
I love shooting Guess, Ellen von Unwerth tells Dazed magazine, reflecting on her career with the iconic denim brand. Guess changed my career primarily in that it gave me the opportunity to shoot so many great and gorgeous women. I became known for creating a certain kind of sexy image. From the beginning, I was given so much freedom. We have shot some of the most memorable women in the world. I love that the photographs have generated such a response from around the world. Supermodels who started as Guess girls. Playful, erotic, woman-focused and ultra-feminine quickly became the signature style of Ellen von Unwerth and the dominating look in her countless Guess campaigns to follow over the next 30 years. With a passion for oversaturated colours or grainy black and white, her images are unmistakable as she photographs top models, celebrities and socialites in timeless Guess campaigns. In 1991, Von Unwerth teamed up with Guess to photograph already established model Naomi Campbell, shooting alongside the relatively unknown Eva Herzegovina, until he issued an ultimatum to take the photos or go home. Naomi Campbell later reflects on the shoot, telling WWD, "I had always loved the Guess images and I was so excited to do it because it was the first time I went to Brazil and Rio, and to be the girl from Ipanema for a day was a dream. I was in heaven. I've been so blessed to have worked with many of the greatest fashion photographers and designers who have produced image which have been so important throughout my career. But that special combination with Ellen von Unwerth, Paul Marciano for Guess was amazing. It was wonderful, and those images were a milestone for the early days of my career." Transforming appearances. Herzegovina continued her campaigns with Guess the following year. Back in the days when I started modelling, the Guess Jeans campaign was one of the greatest. When my agency called me to tell me I got the job, I couldn't believe it. Ellen von Unwerth had transformed me into Marilyn for them. And if I recall, we have done a few campaigns for Guess, even one in favelas in Brazil with Naomi, and one in New York in the Actors Studio and on the streets of New York. Those ads always looked like movie stills, black and white and full of emotion and life. When I saw Eva, Marciano explains to WWD, I thought immediately how much she looked like Marilyn Monroe. In the 1993 Guess campaign, Ellen von Unwerth captured former child star Drew Barrymore, displaying a sexy and seductive side to her viewers as she emerged from the child star to an adult temptress within her own right. In the campaign, she is living out her best summer dreams in an acid-washed cutoffs and a bra, straddling a ruggedly handsome male model. Another iconic teen starlet turned bedazzled Guess girl through von Unwerth's lens was the notorious Paris Hilton. It was the first time the eminent socialite, who paved the way for future influencers for generations to come, was captured in a way that was both flattering and high-end. Paris, a family friend of Marciano, was so desperate to become a Guess girl that she offered to shoot for free to break out of her typecast portrayal. Ever since I was a little girl, I looked up to models like Claudia Schiffer, and I dreamed of being a Guess girl, and my dream came true, the heiress tells WWD.
I was actually a Guess girl, so I love Guess.
She goes on to say that she absolutely loved working with Ellen von Unwerth. It made me extremely proud to drive down Sunset Boulevard and see my Guess photos on a huge billboard. Rockabilly campaigns.
Is something wrong or are you taking a break? When silence rules,
Von Unwerth has worked consistently with Guess. Not always on a yearly basis, but at least once every few years, delivering yet another landmark campaign, which has the ingredients of a classic Ellen campaign collaboration with the denim company. Returning to its iconic roots, Guess once again utilised the talents of von Unwerth in 2010. Who was by now a top-billed fashion photographer. The designer and photographer team released another dynamic collaboration, capturing Elisa Miller and Elsa Hosk in Memphis, giving the girls a rockabilly look, which rendered sumptuous without being trashy. Working alongside Ellen and incorporating our rock and roll history, combined with a picturesque setting, stunning talent, and impeccably designed clothing are the perfect ingredients for another iconic campaign. Marciano explains in reference to the campaign. Through Ellen's lens, we have created yet another masterpiece to sit alongside the classic campaigns that have made Guess a household name, he says. A new Guess girl, Amber Heard. In 2011, Marciano and von Unwerth struck gold once again when they captured the then relatively unknown Amber Heard in that season's campaign. I met Amber at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and as soon as I saw her, I knew she was our new Guess girl. She was fun, fresh, she had the dream to make it big, and with her natural beauty and classic all-American good looks, she just embodied the Guess girl. Amber Heard was a fresh face at the time, but owing to recent events, is now one of the most infamous celebrities in the world. The young celebrity looked back on her Guess shoots with a fondness, telling WWD magazine, "Guess is the epitome of an iconic American brand, and I am honored that Mr. Marciano felt that I could help represent that. Growing up, I can remember the Guess ads always catching my eye. It's surreal that my image is now there. Being a part of the Guess campaign has been an incredible experience, and I feel lucky to be part of the Guess family." A 30-year reunion. In 2012, Paul Marciano, Claudia Schiffer, and Ellen von Unwerth reunited at the Four Seasons Hotel, George V, in Paris, to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Guess clothing brand. The trio, who credited their joint success campaign in 1989 as launching their respective careers, were flocked by well-wishers who grabbed copies of the coffee table book, a third decade of Guess images, and clamoured for autographs. Marciano marvelled at the brand's journey from a 700 square foot space in downtown LA to a global company with 12,000 employees.
Most important asset of the company, of the history of the company, which was a brand, which was an image. If you start to focus and make your campaign just as a product, you will become like anybody. You can do all the campaign you want. If the product is not right, the customers will not come in your store to buy things that they don't want.
A guest held out a copy of the book, flipped open the iconic shot of Schiffer wearing nothing but a bustier, hoop earrings, and touzled blonde locks. If I had to pick a single photo out of my entire life, these 30 years, it would be that one. It's the photo that changed her life and that changed life for Guess. One of the final campaigns with Marciano was 2014, when Guess delivered a classic fall campaign, playing on an Americana theme The Tennessee-inspired campaign was photographed by Ellen von Unwerth. Utilizing the star power of Gigi Hadid, Samantha Hoops, the girls were decked in Western glam as they modeled denim on denim, high-waisted jeans and pencil skirts for one sexy look. Similar to the path of many luxury houses in the fashion industry over recent years, Guess has been racked by scandal, which first came to light at the dawn of the Me Too movement. In this situation, it was not the photographer Ellen von Unwerth, but the leading figurehead for Guess, CEO Paul Marciano, who came under scrutiny for gross workplace misconduct. On January 31st, 2018, supermodel Kate Upton wrote, "It's disappointing that such an iconic women's brand, Guess, is still empowering Paul Marciano as their creative director. #MeToo." In an interview with Time, Upton detailed her claims against him, the co-founder and former CEO of Guess, who she says assaulted and began harassing her during her first professional modeling campaign when she was 18. Marciano issued a response to Time in which he called Upton's accusations absolutely false and preposterous. "I have never been alone with Kate Upton," he said. "I have never touched her inappropriately, nor would I ever refer to a Guess model in such a derogatory manner," he added. "I fully support the Me Too movement, but at the same time I will not allow others to defame me and tarnish my reputation."
Exactly, I agree with him. We were never alone together, and I made sure of it. You know, for the meeting, I came in with the photographer, and he did it right in front of him. Out in your mind of how I acted. Did I ask for this treatment? But you didn't. This is their behavior, and I think that the women who came out before and after me really proved that.
Describing a photo shoot she modelled on for Marciano and his favourite photographer, Ellen von Unwerth, the latter of whom she painted in a favourable light. Upton said in an article later published by Time, "When I worked with Ellen von Unwerth, Paul's behaviours became much more aggressive, without Yutsai there as a buffer. Ellen and I rode together on the way back to the hotel, and I remember her asking me if I was friends with Paul because he seemed to really like me." She continues, "When we arrived at the hotel, Paul came right up to me, grabbed me hard by my arm, and insisted he was taking me to dinner, just him and I, to celebrate the campaign. Ellen picked up on this and literally grabbed my other arm and invited herself by saying she was so excited to celebrate the campaign with us both. Paul told her she was not invited to dinner, and I felt like she saved me by pulling away from him and jokingly walking me to the elevator, saying, 'Well, if I'm not going, Kate's not going.' I've always been so grateful to Ellen for doing that." A representative for von Unwerth said she supported Upton, but did not recall the particular incident. Following Upton's allegations, and those of several other plaintiffs, a 4-month investigation into sexual misconduct claims was launched regarding Paul Marciano's behaviour. Hacked magazine reported the inquiry found that he used poor judgment and put himself in situations in which plausible allegations of improper conduct could and did arise. In response to the investigation, Guess co-founder Paul Marciano stepped down as executive chair of the company's board. The investigation involved interviews with more than 40 people and a review of nearly 1.5 million documents. Guess paid $500,000 to 5 of Marciano's accusers to avoid lawsuits. Lisa Bloom, the attorney who represented 4 of 5 Marciano accusers, says in a statement that she is pleased by his resignation. But the lawyer, who has represented other models with harassment claims, added that Guess needs to take decisive action to truly make amends. Bloom also says that her clients say Marciano forced them to perform sex acts. She said the clients accepted financial settlements due to concerns about the statute of limitations. Although Ellen von Unwerth has not shot for Guess for some years, she is still one of the most influential photographers in the world, especially within the fashion and entertainment industries. Whether shooting for top fashion campaigns or high-profile celebrity weddings, such as Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker, or Nicola Peltz and Brooklyn Beckham, her work is everywhere. She regularly features in high-end magazine spreads such as Vogue and Vanity Fair, along with publishing her personal photographic books and exhibiting selected work. Reflecting on her long-running career, von Unwerth has witnessed a shift in audience opinion. People's reactions, which reflect the perceptions that they have evolved tremendously in the past number of years, she told Dazed magazine. What was provocative back then is considered normal today. For example, when I shot 2 women kissing 30 years ago, people found it shocking. Decades down the line, she maintains that you can't predict success. Claudia and Eva just sort of happened. It was surprising for everyone, she told British Vogue. Von Unwerth has been known to capture her subjects in the most genuine moments.
First pictures, you feel the movement, you feel the energy, the beauty.
Her artistic ideology reflects her own life. My creative philosophy is a very simple one and includes everything I do. I love life and I love to capture it. I want to share it with people now and for generations to come, says Unwerth.